I've done some incredibly cool things over the past 15 to 20 years. But what percentage of these things have really brought me joy? I think between 1 and 5%. Not 10%, not 50%, not 100%. I think between 1 and 5% of everything that you might think is cool has actually brought me real joy.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chris Harder Show, where today I am grateful that I flew home to spend a few days with my mom. I do these things called mom dates. So I come back to my home here in Arizona, and mom lives in this home here that we have in Arizona, and I get to spend 2-3 days doing really intentional mom dates with her. And I will tell you what, there's nothing better than making your family a priority. And the older I get, the more I realize that. And I have some of my best conversations in the world when I'm back here just hanging out with mom. And that's actually what today's episode is about. And I think for a lot of you, this is really going to resonate. So mom and I were having a long, slow coffee the other morning, and we talked about, where I am in life and what I want and what makes me happy and what doesn't, and reflecting on mistakes and reflecting on accomplishments and all this stuff, right? Like, mom and I love to go down the rabbit hole. And she said something to me. She said, "Son, this is not a midlife crisis." For context, by the way, I'm 48, turning 49 in a handful of months. She said, "Son, this is not a midlife crisis, rethinking everything. This is you entering the early gates of wisdom." And I was like, oh, that hits. This is like the first half of my life was spent doing things that I thought would be cool, doing things that I thought you had to do, doing things that I thought would bring happiness or accolades or respect or whatever it would be. And from all of those things, you gain discernment. You gain, hey, that worked, that didn't. That was fun, that wasn't. That felt good, that didn't. And as you start to gather this, you start to gather this thing called wisdom. And I don't mean like wisdom like, I'm some old sage with a white beard and, 100 years old, and I'm telling you what the world is all about. No, mom said it best. She said, "Son, you're just entering the early gates of wisdom. This is where you're starting to ask the right questions before it's too late." She said, "This is where you're learning what your needs really are. You're learning what your true needs are, not what somebody told you they should be." And I realized, holy shit, you spend the first good chunk of your life, your first 20, 30, maybe 40, heaven forbid, maybe 50 years, doing everything based on needs that the world told you you need instead of your own individual needs, because none of us are the same as the person sitting next to us. We all have such unique and individual needs. And part of wisdom is realizing that first, that, oh, my needs are mine and mine only, and they might be different from yours. Now, I'm seeing not just myself, but a lot of guys talk about this. I'm seeing Garrett White talk about this quite a bit online. All of a sudden, I'm seeing some other guys talk about it in my inner circles. I'm seeing a lot of women talk about this right now. Former people that were like all about being this individual woman and building the big business. And now they're like, wait, I'm not so sure that's what I want. I mean, I'm actually seeing the pendulum swing big time right now. But you got to remember, my peer stack, my peers are typically in their late 30s, 40s, and even 50s. So that's why I'm seeing a lot of it right now. If I was 25, I probably wouldn't be seeing a lot of this right now, right? But the guys I play pickleball with, a lot of the accomplished friends I have, this is the conversation that's going on. And I'm sharing it with you because if you're in your 20s, maybe you'll learn this sooner. If you're in your 30s, that's like being between your first quarter and the second quarter of a football game. Maybe you could learn it sooner than I did. Or if you're in your mid 40s or even your 50s, then I'm right in the middle of where that stack would be. Maybe you're realizing this real time with me. It's funny because I can only speak to myself, and I'm working through this realization that yes, I've done some incredibly cool things over the past 15 to 20 years. But what percentage of these things have really brought me joy? And I'll probably reflect about this more and more on the show going forward. So if you like it, great, you're in the right place. If you don't, go find someone else's show. But this is where I'm at right now. The real difficult question of what percentage of all the cool things, the trips, the yachts, the shiny friends, the businesses, the cars, the homes, you name it, the awards, what percentage of those things have actually brought me joy? It's interesting. I am by default a happy person. So I've been plenty happy the whole time. And everything that I've done has been true to me, influenced by what people tell you should want, but nonetheless, true to me in that moment. But despite the fact that I'm by default a happy person, how much of what I've done has brought me actual joy? And I'll tell you, if you ask me to put a percentage on it right now, here's where I'm going to shock the hell out of you. I think between 1% and 5%. Not 10%, not 50%, not 100%. I think between 1% and 5% of everything that you might think is cool has actually brought me real joy. I share that vulnerably with you so that, again, if you're in your 20s and 30s, maybe I can help you course correct early. If you're in your 40s and 50s and you're waking up to this, that's okay. You're not alone, because sometimes it sucks feeling like, oh, I'm alone. Did I make too many mistakes? Am I the only one? And if you're beyond this, great. Maybe you're going through this right now, or you can lend some wisdom back, looking back and saying, hey, man, let me grab your hand to help you out a little bit. But seriously, 1% to 5%. That's the percentage of the quote unquote cool things that you've seen on social media and heard about and all that stuff that has actually brought me joy. And I'm thinking about this a lot like a halftime. I'm a big sports fan, right? So I'm thinking about this point in my life like halftime in a game. What do the best teams do? The best teams go into the locker room and they reassess everything, what's working, what's not. And they come out in the second half with a new game plan. That's what the best teams do. They don't play the same game plan in the second half when they got their ass kicked a few times. They come out with an entirely new game plan, sometimes a radically different game plan. And the reason why they don't have this game plan in front of them for the first half is because they have to first play the first half to actually get enough feedback and find out what the score is to go into the locker room at the half and then make the adjustments based on what you saw in the game, what you felt in the game, and best of all, what the score is right now in that first half of that first half. Here's a real example. I'll give you a real vulnerable example. Less than 2 years ago, I woke up and I realized that I had 3 beautiful houses in 3 locations that I thought were perfect. One in Paradise Valley, Arizona. One up in Door County, Wisconsin by Green Bay, where I'm from, right on the lake. One in California, just blocks from the ocean. I woke up and I had these 3 homes that were worth between $14 and $15 million cumulatively. I had 7 or 8 vehicles scattered about, because you got to have your favorite cars and all your favorite homes, right? I had boats. I had RVs. I had everything I thought it would take to have the perfect life for me and for my family. And when I say family, I don't just mean Lori and I. We don't have kids. That's something that we went back and forth on and tried quite a bit and didn't work out for us. But when I say my family, I mean Lori's brother and his kids, and my brother if he has kids, and all of our extended family, mom and everybody. Like, I see all of them as my family. So what kind of life could I curate for everybody? If I did a good enough job curating this perfect life, then everybody will be happy, right? And that'll bring me the utmost of joy. But as you heard earlier, most of what I've done, really only maybe up to 5% of it, has actually brought me joy. So I had all this stuff that I thought it would take to have the perfect life, the perfect scenario. And the truth is, it wasn't all that great. It really wasn't. It had plenty of good moments, and I'm glad I made a lot of these memories, guys. But overall, I wouldn't recommend that level of chaos, that level of stuff, that level of moving parts to anyone.
Okay, hey, real quick, I'm going to interrupt, but it's for a really good reason. Let me ask you this. How are you really feeling right now about your social media content game? And this is an important question. If I had to ask myself,
I'm asking because my social media game sucked the past couple of years. I mean, it was terrible. Every time I tried to hire it out, it didn't work. Their content was totally not me. And then when I would take it back over myself, it just never got done. That was until I finally found a team that stopped confusing social media content, just putting stuff up, with actual real social media strategy. The reality is this: social media matters if you're building your business, and you can't ignore it even if you want to. Trust me, I tried. Consumers are spending over $1 trillion with a T through social media every single year. Not scrolling, buying and hiring people, choosing who they trust by voting with their dollar. And it's not going to you, it's going to somebody else like me instead. That's why I want to introduce you to my personal CMO, Melissa Duglecki, and her team at the Brand Lab. I swear by her and her team. Melissa is somebody that both Lori and I have trusted with our marketing for a long time now. She's worked on our launches and our social media strategy, our copywriting, landing pages, my brand, and like much more. And in my world, I don't trust effort or intention. I'm sorry, effort and intention are not good enough. I only trust results. And we're finally getting them with Melissa and her team. Like, it feels so freaking good to see my social media go up on a consistent basis and actually like what they're putting up. So here is the deal. I've got a gift for you, but only for a few of you. I've asked Melissa to offer some of my listeners a limited number of spots to get a fully customized social media strategy, just like I got, covering your messaging, your positioning, bio, and content strategy. Now, when you use code Chris at chrisharder.me/social, that's chrisharder.me/social, you get $1,000 off as a thank you from me to you for listening. So go to chrisharder.me, that's .me/social, use code Chris and get $1,000 off as a thank you. If your social media results suck right now, like mine did, or if it feels overwhelming, trust me, just try this. The missing piece isn't more effort. That's what I was doing. It didn't work. It was the right strategy and the right team. Go to chrisharder.me/social, get $1,000 off your custom social media strategy as a thank you from me to you. So we've spent the past couple of years selling it all and winding most of it down, just getting to a simpler life. But there's nothing somebody could have told me that would have changed that course in my life. I had to play the first half and experience all of that myself for me to get the real feedback of like, nope, this is not for me. Too many moving parts, and where's the joy I thought would be at the end of this? You know, I question even the size of the companies that we have built and the size of the companies that we've gone after. What's worth it and what's not? And what are the trade-offs? How much have I traded in terms of life and joy and experience in this first half that I don't want to trade anymore during the second half? And that takes halftime adjustments to get it right. Going forward, I've got to make these adjustments during halftime. What else am I questioning? I'm questioning what I value the most in life for the second half. How do I want to contribute to others to get fulfillment? I am very grateful for the way that I've been able to contribute to others, whether it's from philanthropy, through giving, through putting on experiences, masterminds, you name it. I'm very grateful for the way that I've been able to give to others. But how do I want to do it in the second half of my life? Because I don't want to repeat the first half of my life. That much I know. And so I'm questioning what I value the most in life in this second half. I've learned this. This is interesting. Shout out to Tracy O'Malley. I've learned that my Enneagram values freedom and novelty over almost everything else. So here's an example. If I had a calendar that had all of my favorite things on it tomorrow, if it said wake up in the morning and have the best workout of your life from 8 to 10, and take a walk with Lori and the dogs from 10 to 11, and from 11 to 1, have the best business meetings of your life where tons of money and abundance poured in. And from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, have the greatest hangout with mom ever down in the park by the water. And from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, play pickleball with your friends and have the best game you've ever played. And from 5 o'clock on, hang out with Lori and the dogs and a couple of friends and cook out dinner and watch the sunset over the ocean. And pick up a new car that day while you're at it at exactly 7 o'clock, whatever. If it had a calendar of the next day with all my favorite things on it, guess what? I'd be dreading that day. Not because I didn't like the things, because I've learned, based on my Enneagram, based on my individual needs, I need freedom. So if the day unfolded in exactly that way, but those things weren't on my calendar, but all the same things happened, that'd be the best day of my life. But if it was on my calendar and I looked forward and I saw, oh God, look at all these appointments, look at all these obligations, even though they're my favorite things, I would hate it. I would dread it. It would cause anxiety and pain in me because it doesn't represent freedom to me when I'm told that I have to be somewhere doing something, even if it's something that I like. Well, learning these things about yourself is part of halftime, is part of living the first half. Now, here's the crazy thing. Some of these things you can learn on your own. Some of these things you can analyze on your own. But many of you need to go get other people's perspectives, borrow other people's experience and other people's wisdom. You need to borrow from other people's mistakes and other people's outcomes to chart your new course going forward. I've got a lot of great people in my life that have been helping me with this. I have my family. Luckily, I've got a really good family that is easy to talk to, including my mom especially. How cool at this age to have your mom as one of your best friends. She's full of wisdom. I've got a billionaire coach that is a great human being and has the accomplishments. I've got my weekly therapy with one of the best therapists in all of California. I've got a handful of friends that are living the actual life that I now realize I want to live. Like, they've done it. They're like, hey man, look, I've got the life that you want. I mean, they're not saying that. I'm looking and saying that, but nonetheless, I see inside their life and they're actually living the life that I want. So I've got those friends to seek counsel with, and they're all playing a very important role in helping me figure this out. They really are. But one of the other ingredients that has really helped me the most over the past couple of years is I've been reassessing everything. One of the most important ingredients has been combining these people with the right containers so that I can have the time and space to reflect, the time to sound this out, the time to analyze it and discuss it and get feedback. For me, this has mostly happened on trips where I take myself outside of my busy environment so I can actually marinate on all of this, so I can have the space for these conversations to happen when I'm not in my normal surroundings, so I can show up as somebody different. Here's some examples. Italy last fall with my brother and a couple of my best friends, traveling through Italy for like 8 days, open space, being able to have these conversations in the evening, in the car, on the train. That was crucial as part of this journey. Park City a couple weeks ago with one of the best men's coaches in the whole wide world who happens to be one of my best friends. And another friend who I just really respect and is living the life that I absolutely would love to live right now. He opened up his house in Park City to us where we could hang out up there for just a few days and all of us talk about what's next. And now we have an ongoing phone call every single Monday so we can jump on for an hour and be like, all right, what's next? And hold each other accountable. My first couple of trips, or my last couple of trips, I should say, with Dan Martell, where we could just sit on the beach or sit at dinner. And listen, he will shoot you straight, whether you like the answer or not. Those are the kind of people that you need in your life. And you don't just need the people, you need the container for that to actually happen. Does that make sense? My 5-day road trip up and down the coast of California with my mom and brother last year. Actually, I think it was 6 days. Nonetheless, perfect container for these conversations to happen. All of these people were the right people. And all of these trips were really just the right container so I could actually spend the time with these people. Does that make sense? The opportunity. So without this combo, without the right people and without the right containers to have these conversations with the people, I'd be doing most of this on my own and I'd be getting it wrong. I'd be doing most of this on my own and I'd be feeling lonely. I'd be doing most of this on my own and I'd be telling myself I did it wrong. I'd be doing most of this on my own and I'd be guessing because I wouldn't have the other perspectives. And that's a tough place to be. So I'm so grateful for these people. I'm so grateful for these containers. And if any of this resonates with you, then right now, you probably need the same thing that I do. You need the combination of the container. Maybe it's a trip, maybe it's a hangout, but you need the right combination of the container that gets you outside of your current surroundings and the combination of the right people, high quality people that have already been there, done that, or at least have different perspectives on life to say, hey man, I did it this way and here's how it turned out. You're going to see me start to curate a lot of those spaces as we travel across the US. I love traveling across America. It is such an awesome place. Those of you that have not been listeners for a long time, I bought the biggest bus you could possibly buy, 45 feet, a few years ago, and I traveled all across the country a couple times. I love traveling across America, having great experiences, and combining it with great conversations. And so I'm going to start curating a lot of these spaces, creating the containers that I have needed these past couple of years, but for you, in case you need them as you are navigating some of these things as well. And I really think that this is part of my second half calling. I really believe this is one of my answers I've been seeking. I really believe that this is how I want to serve people. I want to serve people who want to have this space for the wisdom to show up so that they can make the adjustments, not just at their halftime, but even before their halftime, maybe between the first and second quarter. Because listen, life is short, and the earlier you have some of these breakthroughs, the better. That's why I'm doing this first trip, by the way. Some of you that listen on a regular basis, you heard that I was doing a trip, or you heard rumor that I was doing a trip, a 4-day trip up the coast of Southern California. It's going to be awesome, by the way. So first class, so awesome. But that's why I'm doing it. 4 days up the coast of California, the right people, the right space, the right conversations, the right slow agenda, so that you can start to ask some of the right questions and get some of the right answers. If you want to spend 4 days with other high-performing entrepreneurs that are kind of seeking the same thing as you, only they have different perspectives. If you want new connections, new conversations, new perspectives, and new ideas that'll change the trajectory of your life, then I would encourage you to reach out to me and ask about one of the last couple spots in this trip, because I keep them real small so that they're intimate. Just 10 people, that's it. So DM me, text me, whatever it takes to get a hold of me. There's no fancy sales page. There's none of that bullshit, because this is the right space at the right time for the right people. So I don't need any of those things. I think there's 2, maybe 3 spots left. I have to check with the team. Let's just say 2 for now, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So if you want some of this reflection that I'm talking about, if you want some of this guidance, some of this wisdom, some of the right people in the right containers in the right space, ask the right questions, get the right answers, then reach out to me. Because at the very end of September 29th, it kicks off. We get back October 2nd. You have the opportunity to take one of the best trips of your life with some of the best people of your life that will forever change the trajectory of your life. Thanks for listening, guys. Love and appreciate you. And I hope that you enjoy as I share some of the journey that I'm going through so that you can feel confident in taking the same journey for yourself. Thanks for listening. Love and appreciate you.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.